Television New Zealand, in association with Lion Red Limited, presents the Lion Red Rugby League World Cup Final, New Zealand versus Australia.
Well, there we are. We've got the World Cup final around about 9 minutes away. And our commentators today to describe this very important match for New Zealand are Tony Palmer and former Kiwi fullback Gary Kemble.
Thanks, Phil. And looking at the sides, the Australian side, it's a big, fast and typically skilled Australian side, linked not only by captain Wally Lewis from standoff, but also by the deft touches of Gavin Miller in the second row and Ben Elias, the hooker. It is therefore a multifaceted lineup capable of a variety of attacks with the usual brick wall Sydney-style defence. Farah and McGaw, the centres, are the only first-timers at test level, although Elias, Miller and Langer have only played one apiece. Michael O'Connor, the left wing, is their goal kicker. Terry Lamb and David Gillespie, the reserves. The Kiwis are a well-balanced and experienced side with pace out wide and incisive running halves to complement a big mobile pack. Look for Friend and Freeman to slip out the gaps and the vast experience of Graham and Sorensen to set up runners. The Australians will doubtless test Gary Mercer at fullback with tricky kicks. Tony Ero's the only new test player. Most positions except fullback are covered by the reserves Shane Cooper and Sam Stewart. On paper, these are two very even sides. I think Gary Kemble saying that they're two very even sides is perhaps understatement. There has never been perhaps a better match in international rugby league.
That's right. Australia's always hard to beat, especially in test matches. In the World Cup final, I think they will be one of the hardest sides to beat. New Zealand have picked a team with all-round experience, especially in the back line. They've got a lot of pace out there, and I think they'll use their back line very, very well today.
By the way, a very interesting day, this date, the 9th of the 10th, because on this day, way back in 1907, the first ever Rugby League International was played when the New Zealand All Golds played Bramley.
He's already been announced. It'll be announced as he comes out. This guy will hear each one.
Keen anticipation. We're not getting as close to the dressing rooms as we might have perhaps hoped. But the players are about to be called out of their rooms.
I ask you to welcome the visitors today in the green and gold strip, Australia. Number 1, Gary. Wally Lewis. The smallest man in the field, number 7, Alan Langer. And 8, Paul Dunn. Number 9, Ben Elias. 10, Steve Roche. Number 11, Paul Surinam. Then 12, Gavin Miller. And off the back of the scrum, vice captain, number 13, Wayne Pearce.
Number 14 there, you saw Terry Lamb. Canterbury Bankstown is the back reserve. David Gillespie from Canterbury Bankstown also, number 15, the forward reserve. And the Kiwis about to be called from their dressing room as Wally Lewis takes quite a lot of flack from the crowd. He seems to have been the man that they have focused on here. Gary Jack, the world's best fullback. 27-year-old from Balmain, originally from Wollongong. And there's the big man, Steve Roche, number 10. Kept out of his grand final at home. But in the World Cup today, Ben Elias, the hooker. This may be a repeat of Lang Park. And a Kiwi ploy of keep them waiting.
Yes, it's a very nervous time this time of the match, Tony. And if New Zealand, I think, will keep the Australians out there for a couple of minutes just to let them know that, you know, they mean business.
Certainly, it's a psychological ploy that's worked before. Here's Dean Bell, Gary Mercer behind him, Tony Ito, Kevin Ito behind him.
New Zealand in black and white. Their captain, number 4, Dean Bell. Number 1, Gary Mercer. Number 2, Tony Ito. Number 3, his brother, Kevin Ito. Number 5, Mark Elia. In 6, Gary Freeman. Playing in 7, Clayton Friend. In 8, Peter Brown. Number 9, Wayne Wallace. Number 10, Adrian Shelford. Mark Graham in 11. Kurt Sorensen is 12. Mark Otto, number 13.
Test today. He scored 10 tries in 20 tests. Clayton Friend, the smallest man on the paddock. The big Kiwi chant coming from the crowd.
Led by the Right Honourable Mr. David Longy, the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Mr. Longy is accompanied by Mr. George Rainey, the chairman of the New Zealand Rugby League, Mr. Ken Arthurson, in the green jacket, who is the Director General of the Rugby Football League International Board, and Mr. Ron Endley, the Managing Director of New Zealand Breweries Limited.
The Australians being called now to the centre of the field to be introduced to the chairman of the New Zealand board and the Australian and international board, the Prime Minister and the Managing Director of Lion Breweries. Being introduced first to the New Zealanders, Dean Bell, Adrian Shelford, Peter Brown, Clayton Friend, Kevin Ito, Tony Ito, Gary Freeman, Mark Elia, Kurt Sorensen back at the side, Wayne Wallace, Gary Mercer, Mark Graham, Mark Hoddle, Shane Cooper, the back reserve, and Sammy Stewart is the forward reserve today.
New Zealand team looking very tense there, Tony. Very tensed up, and the Australians, I think you'll find they're a little bit relaxed.
John Bray, the manager, Tony Gordon, the coach, of course. Yes, I thought they looked very relaxed when they arrived at the park an hour or so ago, but obviously the tension is getting to them. Graham Ainua, the referee from Papua New Guinea.
Manager Peter Moore, Prime Minister.
Members of the Australian contingent now being introduced by Ken Arthurson, King Wally, Wayne Pearce, back row forward, Michael O'Connor, the goal kicker today. Amazing how small Ben Elias is too. Steve Roach, the big man, Gary Jack. Sheridan, the tallest of the Australians there.
Yeah, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, singing the Australian national anthem today are 4 of the cast from the Rocky Horror stage show, currently touring New Zealand. Direct from Sydney, Australia, please welcome, backed by New Zealand's Silver Surfers, Michelle Guthrie, Melinda O'Connor and Liam Shields, with Michael John Hurney singing Advance Australia Fair.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea, our land of
Good to see some of the team at least know their national anthem.
And to sing the New Zealand national anthem, backed by the Silver Surfers, and when the cat's away, an ex-rugby league player, Graham Brazier, God defend New Zealand.
Slightly different tempo to the norm.
Each member of each
Certainly
team
appreciated by the crowd.
an autographed football in the colours of his team, which they will now kick into the crowd as a very unique memento of a very unique sporting occasion here in New Zealand.
Now each member of each team has been allocated a football in the national colours, which they will kick into the crowd. But I think first we're going to have a haka.
Eden Park, the officials for today's match. On the touch judges, Mr. Dennis Hale and Mr. Bill Shrimpton from Auckland. And the referee from Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, Mr. Graham Arnui.
Graham Arnui, Police Commissioner in Papua New Guinea. There's the toss. And now the New Zealand haka.
Kamate, kamate, koreko. Oh, kamate, kamate, koreko. Oh, tenete, tangata. Huru, nana, itike, waipaka, pititera. Oh, umpale, umpale. Oh, umpale, kopale, pititera.
Expertly led by Sammy Stewart. The resident Maori cultural expert in the side. The team huddled for the Australians, while Graham Arnui waits in the middle of the paddock, a little bemused.
I think he's got a very big, important part to play in this, Tony. It's going to be all on the first 10, 15 minutes, and he has to stamp his authority on the game just to get it free flowing.
I think he's been quoted in the Sunday papers as saying that perhaps Steve Roach needs to be watched. I think probably everyone needs to be watched in a match like this. The atmosphere white hot here. Huge support for the Kiwis, as you might expect. the Australians have played all 7 of the current series of World Cup matches for Australia. Wally Lewis and Gary Jack. Peter Brown to start for the Kiwis. And the siren goes. Not often you hear a siren at Eden Park. Roach. And expect those big wrap-up, stop-them solid tackles from Kurt Sorensen, Mark Graham and Horrell. Some early nerves, a little bit of drop ball. Lewis couldn't pick it up. This is where it's been predicted there might be some trouble in the first couple of scrums. That one fairly straight. The penalty going Australia's way.
Australia here have got a big, strong wind behind them, and I think Wally Lewis will capitalise on that, especially in this first half.
Play it fairly quickly, almost up to the halfway line now, Australia. Good tight tackling, that's done. Roach, still getting the pass back. Elias running around. Magor. Two big centres in Farah and Magor. Elias in his customary dummy half position. That's Farah, one of the danger men in the centres for Australia. Lewis, the big high kick. Nobody underneath it. Signal interpretation.
Yeah, well, looks as though he's given a penalty there for New Zealand being accidentally offside. Well, I thought the Australians were in front of the kicker anyway. Yes, he's definitely given Australia a penalty right in front of the posts for New Zealand being offside.
Let's have a look at it again. The big high kick from Lewis. There was never any question they were going to put Mercer under some pressure from the outset.
Yeah, it looked as though Kurt Sorensen come over the top and he spilled the ball to Mark Horrell, who was accidentally offside there. But I thought the Australians were in front of the ball anyway.
So first chance for Michael O'Connor. Kicked 65 goals this year for Manly in 19 games. And he slots that one without any trouble at all. So, first blood to Australia.
Race points on the board to Australia. Number 5, Michael O'Connor.
The intriguing now for the next few minutes to see whether or not the Kiwis have let that unsettle them. They've known from the outset that they would need very strong discipline. Jack. Caught by the Eagles. The tackling still staunch. Roach. Real determination to stem the flow here. The key link man is Lewis. Kick through again. Testing Mercer for position. Mercer has it. Makes very little and is caught by Magor. Elia, first touch of the ball and he drops. Still a few nerves in the camp. on both sides. Elias wanting to run. Langer waiting. That's against Wallace. Might have been a bit harsh.
Yes, it looks as though he got stuck in the tackle here, but I think the point on that tackle, Wayne Wallace is just laying on him a little bit too much. The marker there made a bad mistake early on, dropping the ball, and Australia picked up the ball, put the pressure back on the Kiwis, and that's how they got the penalty.
Oh, Wallace wasn't in a position where he could get off in a hurry there. So another shot for O'Connor. In 19 games for Manly, 198 points, 17 tries and 65 goals. And he's there again. 4-0. 6 minutes gone.
Well, he's played on this game before, on this ground before. That was in a different game. It was the 15-a-side game. Michael O'Connor, another penalty. Australia 4, New Zealand 0.
So Peter Brown a restart. This is early advantage they can ill afford to give away. They're going to need to get back into this game quickly, the Kiwis. Sirenen, first run we've seen for him with the ball. There's Roach. Elias, the dummy half. This is done. They run off Elias all day. Gavin Miller's number 12. Player of the year in Great Britain in '86. Been at Hull Kingston Rovers for the last 5. Mercer starting to get his confidence. Ito. Graham will be one of the keys to this side. He and Sorensen in the second row. This is Mark Hollow loses the ball. Glenn Gallagher with a dismal look on his face, the New Zealand physiotherapist.
A little bit of nerves creeping into the Kiwis play. They have to hold on to the ball. That's twice now they've dropped the ball early on in the tackle count.
I guess you could understand nerves in this atmosphere, but they're all professionals, apart from Wayne Wallace. Another chance here for Australia. Little double round with Langer going back, Lewis going left. Gets the pass back to Pearce. And it's as simple as that for Langer to finish. Super play. Excellent finish. The little switch of direction. Well, they made it look easy, didn't they?
Dead right. It was a good move here by Australia. Going to the blind side. Here's Wayne Pearce. He gets on to Alan Langer, and he's great for this. He really backs up really well on the inside and scores a good try. There's excellent lead-up work here from the tap. Wally Lewis, bring it to the blind side. Inside of him was Wayne Pearce, and Alan Langer, the man is always there. Excellent try to Australia. The Kiwis didn't want that.
2 changes of direction. And Langer finishes. This again is fairly simple for O'Connor. There's the try scorer, Alan Langer. Playing in his second test. Man from the Brisbane Broncos. His combinations with Wally Lewis well rehearsed. 22 years old. So Brown restarts and the Kiwis really in trouble. I think everyone's predictions were for a much closer start than this. And the Australians looking so polished when they put that move together. A big dump for Roach. Back to Farah, and that's not a bad kick either. So right up close to the 22 now, Australia. Kiwi ball. So they're on to Freeman very quickly. Friend. Australians well aware of the ability of Freeman and Friend to sniff for gaps. On sort of a pass to Hall. And this is not a very composed looking Kiwi side at the moment. Little incident off the ball. Benny Elias and one of the New Zealanders, and the penalty has resulted.
Benny Elias there, he came out to Mark Hurrow.
It was actually Elias having a shot at Clayton Friend.
That's what happened, I think, yeah. New Zealand got the penalty.
So Shelford. Now the Kiwis desperately in need of a breakthrough. Freeman. There's plenty of off-the-ball stuff going on here. One of the Aussies lying flattened on the ground. Meanwhile, the Kiwis continue. Tony Ito. And back way off the ball. One of the Australians flattened.
The linesman's on, he's reporting to the referee. Looks like he could call out a Kiwi here.
Look at who that is in a moment. Kevin Ito was certainly tackled before he had the ball. It's Mark Magore. Mark Magore, the 24-year-old from Cronulla. Australia 5-1 in the penalty count at the moment.
They just can't afford to give away these penalties, Tony. They have to settle down a bit.
Composure needed from this New Zealand side now. Roach. There's a fair bit of niggle been happening off the ball here. Elias. He'll run all day from there. Langer waiting. Lewis. Caught high that time. Not allowed to give the ball away, and there's a touch judge on the paddock. Graham Ainu going to stop.
Well, this is ridiculous, Tony. These line touch judges, if the referee can't see what's going on out there, they shouldn't come on the paddock. I can't understand. It's just going to make the game stop-start now.
Seems to be Kurt Sorensen that's having a finger pointed at him. Making no secret of the fact here that he's going to be watching one or two key players, Dean Bell and Wally Lewis, the two captains being spoken to, Steve Roach being spoken to there, and the penalty going New Zealand's way. 5-2 now, the penalty count to Australia. Shelford.
side as well.
Kemble. Kiwis are playing one short at the moment. Davy Shelford takes it up. And it's Mark Graham getting some treatment. Wow, this is ludicrous, the amount of off-the-ball play there has been.
Yeah, it looks as though Mark Graham, when he slipped that pass, someone come over the top very hard there, and it looks as though he's flattened out.
Mark Graham, with a severely battered body from many years of professional league. When he lists for you what the injuries are that he's had over the years, it's a wonder he can still walk on, let alone play. And the penalty's been awarded and Peter Brown's got a shot. So a chance here for New Zealand to get back into the game, at least partially. Graham seems to be okay. Flagged away. Jack bringing it back. O'Connor loses it. Wallace has it to Tony Ito. Lions kicking it through. Freeman's there. Play on, says Ainui. And the Kiwis go wide. Sorensen running the dummy. Shelford has it. Goes wide to Mercer. He holds it. Now the Kiwis up with a chance right on attack here. Being urged on by the huge crowd. Brett Sorensen. Well, Sorensen looks as though he might be a key figure in this match. He's got the composure and the experience. Here's Ady Shelford. Freeman to Graham. Graham losing it forward. Most uncharacteristic for him. Elias has it. And Ito has him.
That's the sort of tackling you want from the Kiwis. Good, hard, solid tackling. Keep the Aussies down here.
Trapped in the 22 now, Australia. Roach. Sirenin. Been remarkably quiet, Sirenin thus far. Farah again. Testing Mercer. Mercer lets it go back. Runs it up to the 22. Tony Ito. Wallace, Friend, Shelford. Some of them making that ball look slippery. Kemble knocks on. Well, it's some of the people that we just do not expect to make mistakes who are making them. Seem to be still some nerves in that Kiwi camp.
They're making mistakes in critical periods too, Tony, and they can't afford to do it just outside of 22.
Good mental tussle going on between Freeman and Lewis. Miller. Pearce. Crowd of Kiwis there to tackle. Roach back inside to Sirenin. He's lost it. Wayne Wallace has it. Mark Elio. Hero. Losing the ball in the tackle. Knocked out of his hand. Shelford.
stand in the referee's position there. He just knocked it out of his hand and went back anyway.
Some odd decisions, but he's in charge. Lewis waiting. Oh, bad pass from him. Looked as though it went forward when Jack picked it up. Langer. He's the man they've got to stop. The little chip through. Mercer. Some quick thinking by Mercer, but he's a danger man, Alan Langer.
Yeah, this little fella's really in top form at the moment, and he's playing really well. He's really electric. Accelerates off his feet very well.
I noticed that Wally Lewis has got an injury to his wrist on the side of the paddock. Gary Jack.
The Kiwis must get this ball. They haven't had it the whole half. Australia have had the monopoly of the ball.
Sirenen. Australia just all over the Kiwis. There's Lewis getting some repairs. Meanwhile, Australia play on. Dunn. Back to Elias. Elias looking to run and duck under those tackles. It's got to be wrapped up midway through the first half now. Peter Brown has him. Elias has a drop, and it's there. That's Benny Elias, better known as a hooker than a dropper of goals, but he made no mistake about that.
Yeah, Australia putting the pressure on the Kiwis here, and 1 point's as good as any, especially when you're 10-0 up, and Benny Elias has slotted that over very nicely. Australia have been making all the play, they've had all the ball, and any points counts, and 1 point at this stage of the game is very vital.
Just looking at it again. He was right in front, he'd seen the opportunity, so he took the point. Done. Good tackling, Mark Hoddle. Sirenen. Midway, 22 and halfway in Australian territory. Gavin Miller, one of the main ball distributors, has had all the acclaim in Sydney this season. Elias again with a kick. Back to Mercer, having to run for it. Almost stepping out. And the tackler's up there very quickly. Dale Shearer onto him. Elia. Well caught. And pushed back in no uncertain fashion. Well, these Kiwis are going nowhere.
Yeah, the Australian defence is very tight at the moment, isn't it? They're not letting the Kiwis even get the ball away in the tackle.
Friend. Well, they want to mark Graham very quickly. The tackle almost arriving before the ball did. Freeman stepping on the sideline. Losing it in the tackle, and back with Shearer. Hard like a half break made by Gary Freeman. Farah well caught on the 22-metre line. Sirenen. Kurt Sorensen's probably going to get pulled up for that. But he hasn't. Back to Jack. Jack fumbling it. Elia there. Can't get it. They come back to the knock-on.
New Zealand defence was very good there. The backs come up very quickly. They saw Gary Jack coming into the back line. They come up very well.
Suddenly some composure and organisation coming into the Kiwis, at least on defence.
Well, that's all I've been doing this afternoon. I've only been defending, and I'd like to see them have the ball.
Brand waiting. Trying to catch them offside. Freeman. Again finding a half gap. Farah there fairly quickly. Dean down. Wayne Pearce doing his usual superb job of covering. Driving the pass back to Sorensen. Wallace. Shelford. Making some progress this time, almost up to halfway. Double round with Wallace. Friend. Kurt Sorensen. Flicks it on to Ito. Kevin Ito, that is. Brother Tony waiting behind him. And they're well up, midway, 22 and halfway now. Kurt Sorensen. Jack underneath it. Takes it safely, and Graham has him. Pearce. Elias with a little flick up to Miller. Roach. Roach hasn't made a lot of progress. He's been well covered. Lewis kicking this time. Tony Ito going back. Let's go out. Right on the 22-metre line. Friend. Almost sold the dummy. Freeman. Ito. Mercer. Sorensen waiting. Bell. Otto. Scrum to go down again, right on the 22-metre line.
Yeah, it's Australian speed, and they're inside the 22. Another critical period for New Zealand now to keep Australia up.
Minutes remaining in the first half. Australia leading 11-0. Langer. Lewis and Jack, not quite sure who was going to pick it up. Dunn. Pearce. Certainly had a bit of freedom to run today. Roach. Getting awfully close to the line now, Australia. As Roach plays it. Langer. Darting back, but covered. New Zealand in need of tight defence here. Ball up again from Elias. Going to come down right under the posts. Was there quickly to capitalise on the fact that Mercer couldn't hold it. Ilya.
There's penalty in New Zealand. Australia holding New Zealand down. This will relieve a lot of pressure.
Back at the sideline, just in the Australian half.
Now those Australians are offside there. They're inside the 10 metres, even though Tony Euro knocked the ball on.
O'Connor getting tagged there.
Who swears now?
Freeman and Hotto, the top tacklers at the moment, with 11 each for the Kiwis. Roach. Lewis just flicking it back. Pierce to Jack. Jack looking for running space. Good tackle from Tony Ito. Langer. Looking to link up with Lewis, his clubmate. Elias. And they certainly have put the pressure on Gary Mercer, but that time he didn't even have the ball. And he's not very happy about it. Nor should he be.
Well, that's right. He's being tested, and he went up to go for that ball in, and the Australian player just went straight into him without even looking.
So back check, and they marched it another 5 metres, and here's Mark Edia. Back in to Peter Brown. Clayton Friend. Running every which way, Clayton Friend, in his classical style. And they're back well inside the Australian half now. Freeman has found a gap until he runs into Gary Jack. And the Kiwis on the rampage. Kurt Sorensen getting the pass to Graham, to Shelford, and back into Dean Bell. And Dean Bell looked almost clear.
What a brilliant tackle by Gary Jack.
He's making so many, Gary Jack. Ito can't get away.
Well, that's the professionalism of Australia. They knew they were wrecked.
Bell with the big loop over the top to Tony Ito. Caught. Kurt Sorensen. Gary Jack getting through a tremendous amount of work in defence. Some superb tackles. And she's all on down here.
It looks as though the Australians are really rattled at the moment. The Kiwis are throwing the ball about. It's just Wally Lewis who won't give the ball over. He's allowed to take a quick tap there.
I think the man who's had the biggest impact on this game so far has been Graham Ainu, the referee. That's Paul Dunn, who appears to have been sin bin.
I didn't actually see that, Tony. It looks as though he has been sin bin.
Well, I didn't see the signal. But the Australian official there is saying 5. So whether it's 5 minutes or 10, we don't know yet. But they're one short. And the Kiwis keen to capitalise. Sorensen running in a different angle. Here's Graham. Once again, Jack there to make a tackle. Looking it on. Dean Bell. Dean Bell almost in space. Gets the pass up in the tackle. But Shearer has it. And Pierce regains possession for Australia. Injured man out there for Australia. Here's Gary Jack. Making some yardage and up past the halfway. Elias. Langer. Through Lewis. Farah and Magor combining. To O'Connor. Back to Shearer. Shearer caught. This is Langer. Mercer to beat. Mercer can't catch him and Langer's there. What a series of strange events. And Australia 15 out.
This is what the Kiwis did not need. Alan Langer again going over in the corner just before half-time. Just after the Kiwis have been on the attack.
And Alan Langer playing the role we normally hope to see Clayton Friend play in a team.
It's good play by the Australian centres here. They really left the New Zealanders for dead. And again, Alan Langer just backing up, long footing Gary Mercer, going for the corner, had too much pace, scoring an excellent try.
Well, this is one tough test for the Kiwis to come back from. Excellent changes of direction from the Australians, the same as their first try. Just wrong footing, the Kiwi defence. Clever little deft touches, and Australia 15-0 out with 4 minutes remaining in the first half.
This guy Langer doesn't seem as though he's only having a second test, does he? He's having an excellent game.
Amazing. Came originally from Ipswich, taught by Tommy Radonicus. Now the Kiwis really with their tails down now. That's going to be one heck of a total to come back from. They go in at half-time, 15-0 down, possibly 17-0 down. If O'Connor can convert from the sideline here. He's misjudged the wind a little. A stiff breeze. So 3 minutes remain now and 15-0. Now the Australians are bringing on Terry Lamb, and Wally Lewis is coming off. King Wally. The wrist injury that he sustained earlier on is not good, so Terry Lamb from Canterbury Bankstown, the 27-year-old veteran of 7 tests, is on now at stand-off. That may liven up the Australians as if they needed it. Roach. Sirenen. Elias and Pearce have both been making good ground running. Sad sight for Wally Lewis. Farah's kick is out. And the touch judge on the paddock again.
Looks as though Andrew Farrell is sitting over there. There's Wally sitting down.
Let's have a look at that again. Yeah, it was Clayton Friend. Took him well after the ball had left his boot. So the penalties at the moment, 8-6 for New Zealand. Running in the middle there, McGaw. Sirenen. Australia looking at the 22 line there. Lamb flicks it out to Farah. Farah slipping, losing his footing, and Mark Hotto has it. Pearce straight through the middle, and you go all the way. Wow, this is starting to look like a whitewash.
Well, this is poor defence by New Zealand. Australia really putting the pressure on them. It comes out to Gavin Miller. Just went straight through the hole. Actually, should have given the ball there to the other Australian player, but he went on his own and beat the tackle of Gary Mercer. All it was, he just took it up, he went straight through the hole. Adrian Shelford, Peter Brown, just stood there just as though they were watching him. It was bad defensive work by New Zealand.
Just have a look at it from another angle. Gavin Miller, the man from Hull Kingston Rovers, looked like Pearce initially. 2 of them wearing a headband. And it was Gavin Miller, second rower. Now from right in front, the ball has been blown over. Flags are up. 21. Wow, what a score to try and come back from at half-time. There is the half-time hooter.
Yeah, just a simple try here. Kevin Miller taking the ball. He spotted the gap, accelerated through the gap. He actually had Wayne Pearce on the outside of him here. And if Gary Mercy had stopped him, he would have got a little bit of a telling off, but he knew he had him beat and scored beside the post.
So the Australians go into the half-time break. 21-0 up. Wow, what would you tell a team? How do you come back from that in a test match?
I think Tony Gordon will be very angry at that. Even though Australia have got the wind, I think they've got too many points on the board for New Zealand to come back. But I think I'll have a few stern words to a lot of the players out there.
And understandably a disconsolate-looking Kiwi side coming back in there. They're not really quite sure what struck them. Early on in the game, they lacked a little composure. They dropped some balls that looked relatively easy. They seemed almost to be overwhelmed by the atmosphere here. But the Australians have just looked so sharp.
Yes, any Australian team playing on top of the ground is always the team to beat, especially when they're throwing the ball about like they are. But their tackling has left a lot to be desired at the moment. They have to really tighten up, especially around the middle.
Australia have everyone talking 19-0 up at the moment in the big World Cup final. Perhaps the biggest talking point of this first half has been the news that about 20 minutes into the game, we heard a comment from Wally Lewis. He looked across to his bench and he says, "I think I've broken my arm." And that's apparently what had happened. He was given some support, but he played on for as long as he could, and then unfortunately had to come off because the pain was too much. And Greg Clark and Howie Tamati, that really was quite dramatic. We were watching him.
Certainly was, but I think the key to it is that it's not a bad replacement on there. I mean, Australia are just so lucky to have Terry Lamb, the linchpin of the Canterbury Bankstown Sydney Championship side this year, on the field. But I mean, that's the true character of Wally Lewis. He copped heaps from the crowd here at Eden Park today. The guy had what we think is a broken arm and still played on. And how you can't take it away from Wally Lewis. A great effort.
Oh, great effort. He stayed on and controlled the game. He wasn't doing much sort of with the handling of the game, but he was in there directing play, kicking the ball, and you know, it was a really tremendous effort by him to stay out there. Showed a lot of courage.
What's going wrong with New Zealand at the moment?
Well, they're not making the tackles, are they? The Australians are turning the ball back up the middle, and they're just going straight through them. The boys have got to really tighten up in the centre of the field or centre of the play.
It almost seemed as though the Australians came out a little more fired up than the Kiwis.
Well, we never controlled the ball. We never had the ball for about the first 7 minutes, and 4 penalties to nil in that crucial period of time. So we never got to settle down at all.
Greg, I really think that the key to it is the inside passing by the Australians. And the New Zealand cover defence is just not coming across. We've seen Alan Langer score twice now, where it basically came from inside passes early in the movement. And, you know, the last line of defence just wasn't there. New Zealand must get in there and do their job with the cover defence.
Okay, let's take a look at the first try that was scored by the Australians. And here it is.
Good set play here.
Passes.
Wally Lewis comes back on the blind, then switches back inside to Wayne Pearce, and that really good player, Alan Langer, backs up on the end and scores the try.
Great switch of play, 2 or 3 times in that movement. That's what I was getting at. You know, that last line of defence is not there. You know, the cover defence has to move across here before to cut off the ball carry before New Zealand can get back into it. But really, it's going to take a bold man to really rule out New Zealand's chances here, because as you can see late in that first half, I think the Aussies were starting to wilt a little bit, and fitness is going to be the key. So let's not rule out the New Zealanders just yet.
Now, what about this little whiz Langer? He is the dangerous man.
Oh, he's been in tremendous form this year for the Brisbane Broncos and playing with Wally Lewis. And he's just really come of age this year, and he's, you know, obviously in the international scene, he's going to be around for a long, long time.
Let's have another look at the second Australian try, and you can see some real class coming out here.
Langer started it.
Again, Wally Lewis can't pass the ball. Throws it to Shearer. Very good centre field play here. Centre play, winger coming back on the end. Back into Shearer, who's gone off the other wing. Back inside again to Alan Langer. Great step there. Beats him on the outside, which shows real pace to do that against an international fullback. Scores a good try.
They call him Elf. He's probably even shorter than the Elf character that we're all familiar with on television, but I think he's got a little more pace than Elf.
Now, who else has impressed you in the Australian lineup?
I really can't find a fault in the Australian lineup, Philip, to be quite honest. I just think they're all playing a great game.
They're all playing very well as a team. You know, like everybody sort of thought that Gavin Miller would probably be the key linchpin, but he hasn't done much really. He just sort of waited until the New Zealand defence got tired, and then he just came in.
We're talking of Gavin Miller, probably an appropriate time to look at the third Australian try. This was another heartbreaker for New Zealand.
There he is.
Virtually a solo try, this one. He had Wayne Pearce there, through the dummy.
He's very, very strong up top. He's a very solid man. So, you know, you've got to go low on him.
I was only saying to Howie before we saw this try that I thought Miller was having a quiet game. Usually he's a great ball distributor. And Howie said to me just before that try, wait for a little while, because when the other forwards start to tire, Miller will move in and do the job, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, that's the key to being a ball playing forward. You just sort of wait, you wait and you hang on and you wait till the defence is wilt a little bit, then you come in and you do your thing with the ball. And obviously there was no runners. Everybody sort of hung off him and he just ran through the gap.
Okay, what are they going to have to do in the second half?
Our boys are going to have to tighten up really hard and go forward, try and support one and run off one another. That's sort of we're going. Adrian Shelford's going pretty well.
And I suppose the thought now is that maybe New Zealand will have the advantage that they will be a little fitter, and logically that might be the difference between the two teams when it comes to the crunch. So we're all set now for a second half. It'll be coming up in a few moments, and we're going to be talking now amid this amazing atmosphere here at Eden Park to one of New Zealand League's greatest coaches, a man who's made his mark on the game. Sess Mountford, your first reaction to what you've seen so far?
Shock. The crowd really wonderful, but the game, New Zealand haven't started yet.
What do you think is the problem?
The problem at the beginning, Australia came on the field full of fire, prepared to go forward, prepared to take the ball forward, and New Zealand just stood back and were waiting, with or without the ball.
We discovered that Wally Lewis may have had a broken arm for 20 minutes of the match. That's quite an amazing feat to continue.
Yeah, tremendous, really, and he was still playing quite well. Directing the players was very important, because it looked at one stage when it was 10-0 to Australia, it looks like New Zealand might come back.
Are New Zealand out of this yet, Sess, do you think, or not?
Well, I don't think they can win, but they can certainly put their stamp on the game if they do the right thing.
Paul McDonald, Brett Kendall and Bruce Kendall, I should say, and Ian Ferguson have been here today, so they're enjoying the occasions. I'm sure you are. But what would you be saying now if you were Tank Gordon?
If I was Tank Gordon? Well, I would have said it long before the game, and it obviously hasn't been said. The forwards have got to be sure that they get in the right places. There should be one man marking the man play the ball, a forward behind and two forwards either side, and then they've got to move up and put him to the ground. But what are we doing? We're just waiting.
Sess Mountford, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy the second half. Certainly we'll be hoping that New Zealand can perform a little better. Here's Bruce Kendall and our gold medalist canoeists, Ian Ferguson and Paul McDonald, and they have been a very popular addition to this large crowd here on World Cup final day.
Members of the O-Rugby Sports Club that came to the ground in ARA bus number 1420. Well, it's not where you thought it was.
So Paul McDonald there is just about to be besieged by many autograph hunters, as is, I'm sure, Ian Ferguson. And Bruce Kendall, perhaps the sportsman we don't see a lot of, is actually taking his major part as well. Well, we're standing by now for a start in the second half of the big World Cup final. New Zealand against Australia.
Now, back to the Rugby League World Cup final in association with Lion Red Limited.
So there is the dressing room, the Australian dressing room, and we had a brief peek, but we had the door shut. They can feel pretty confident about their situation at the moment, because going into a second half, such a big advantage is really going to help them. And Greg and Howie are back with me for a quick comment as we await the team's arrival on the field. What do you think they'll be saying in that Australian dressing room? Let's sit back and enjoy the rest of this match.
Well, I actually heard Don Ferner, the coach, say to a couple of the reserves, in fact Wally Lewis was in one of the reserve seats at the half-time break, and he said, I think we're in there, I think we've got it. And with a 19-point lead at half-time, obviously you would feel rather delighted. But really they've just got to keep on going. You can't really fault them, can you?
No, they're playing really well. The New Zealanders have got it all in front of them. I think they've really got to come back now and try and settle down. They never really settled down in the play. you know, like they got stuck in their own 22 for far too long, and they should have kicked out of there and just played the basics and that sort of thing. And they're really going to have to work hard now to just to get back into that match.
Kurt Sorensen looks to be pretty fired up. He seems to be having a good game for New Zealand.
Yeah, well, it's all individual efforts at the moment. You know, we Australians are putting the passes together and going really well, whereas our guys are going sort of as individuals, and it can't be like that in the Test match.
I think also with support play, Gary Freeman has made 2 or 3 definite breaks and run out of support. They're just not getting there like the Australians are supporting their man, so they really have to back up the ball carrier.
Exactly, the breaks have been made, and you know, I think there's only been one case where Kurt Sorensen's actually ran off Mark Lane, and that's been it. All of this has just been individual breaks, so really, even in attack and defence, they've got to go together.
There's the scenes in the Australian dressing room as we get a brief peek at this very confident Australian team who now look set to take the World Cup final unless New Zealand can come up with something special in this second half. Ben Elias, the man who dropped the goal for Australia, gave them 1 point, which may be valuable in the end. But brilliant tries by Alan Langer, the little whiz of the Australian team. Well, let's welcome them back to the ground now as they make their way out onto the pitch and rejoin our match commentators, Tony Palmer and Gary Kemble.
Thanks, Phil. I tend to agree with one of your guests down there that it would be a brave man that would rule out New Zealand in coming back, but I'm sure, Gary Kemble, you share the view that in a test match that is an enormous hurdle.
It is. New Zealand have to get down on Australia's half early on, score points early to come back into the game. But with a strong wind, they have to their tactical kicking has to be spot on. They have to regroup in defence. They have to put some big defence on the Australians to stop them. And I think it is a lot to come back from.
An indication of the possession in the first half was that the New Zealanders made 73 tackles and the Australians 32. So double the number for the New Zealanders. Indication of who had possession for most of the time. The penalties went Australia 6, New Zealand 8. The errors made in the game. New Zealand made 2 major errors and the Australians only 1. The scrums are 3-all. Tony Gordon with a very solemn look on his face, as you might expect. Sam Stewart, I'm sure, hoping he's going to get a run today. And the look of resignation on Gary Freeman's face as he comes out. Tommy Conroy assisting with the training. There's the McConnell Dow bird's eye view of Eden Park. An interesting perspective from up there if you like chess. And it will be Terry Lamb to restart for Australia. The siren goes, and Lamb kicks deep to Shelford. Now let's see what kind of spirit the Kiwis can come up with in the second half. They have 40 minutes, and what an enormous task ahead of them. All credit to Australia, who have definitely looked the sharper of the two sides, who have had the lion's share of possession, and who have used it superbly. Graham losing the ball. Elias looked to throw a pass and then go himself. He was well covered by the halves. Pierce. Roach. Midway, 22 and halfway in Kiwis territory. Chipped through by Lamb. Testing Mercer again. And certainly on his performance in the first half, he was worth testing.
Yes, Gary Mercer looks as though he's out of position a few times. It's very hard. He's got a losing pack in front of him at the moment, and on that occasion it's Australia's ball again.
No change in the pack. The Kiwis, we thought that if the scrums weren't going well, that Kurt Sorensen may end up in the front row. And either Brown or Shelford back in the second row. Jack. That's the 22-metre line. Farah. Again, the tackling not great. Holes in the middle. Elias to Miller to Pearce, and a Dale Shearer finish. Well, they just can't do anything right today, the Kiwis. Fairly straightforward try.
Yes, Australia looking very dangerous when they get close to the New Zealand line. And good slip ball there by Wayne Pearce, giving it to Shearer, and just had too much space to put it in the corner.
Shearer went round the outside of Wallace, and Mercer was out of reach.
It looks very easy from Australia here. Kevin Miller, good slip pass, another one from Wayne Pearce. Dale Shearer out on his own. Wayne Wallace coming across the top of the fence, but he was too good.
Dale Shearer, a manly 23-year-old. 7th test today for him. And Michael O'Connor, see if he can make it 27. He misses, so it remains 25. And if it was difficult after half-time, it's even more difficult now.
Yes, I don't think anybody would have predicted this score. The Kiwis have to tighten up the defence, and they have to stop making these silly mistakes.
The story of the game really has been just the foibles on defence of this Kiwi side. Shearer. That's a very dispirited looking Kiwi side now. Sirinen. Kurt Sorensen decides to have a go at it, and it's all on. Well, I guess if you can't win the game, there might be some hope of winning a punch-up. Some interesting words there between Mark Graham and Gavin Miller.
A little bit of frustration creeping in here. It looks like Clayton Fenn in behind Kurt Sorensen. They're coming over the top. There he goes. Sirinen having a go at Kurt Sorensen. He was having a go back. Just a little bit of frustration, I think, creeping into the Kiwis' play.
I think if we're talking about the Kiwis, there's more than a little frustration there. Clayton Friend took a knock.
Looks like he's been sent to the sin bin. Clayton Friend.
Yes, the end result is that Friend is in the sin bin. We're not sure for how long. So Australia right on halfway now. Roach. That's not a very happy face.
Again, that first tackler is missing the tackle. The first tacklers must make the tackle.
Eventually Dean Bell puts him down. Lamb still holding that hand free to get it to Roach. Roach caught by Freeman. Miller still slipping it back. Pearce. Pearce to Shearer. Now being allowed to get the passes away. South Kiwis with possession now, the crowd urging them on. Mercer. Lady Shelford, who hasn't really fired today in this game. Graham. Wallace waiting. Brown. Gary Jack running to get under that. Goes back out of his hands. Freeman and Hotto up there to make the tackle. O'Connor. Very elusive runner. We've seen little of him. Knock-on. Right down.
Let's see what New Zealand can do here. They've got the feed. They're inside Australia's 22. They need the points. They have to score a try.
If they have any hope of a comeback, whatever, they will need a penetrating attack from here. And they're still without Clayton Friend. And they've got a penalty. Peter Brown's going to have a shot at the line. A parallel shot at the line. It goes out on the 22. Shelford. Offside, here's Freeman. Brown. Freeman again. Midway 22 and goal line. Shelford. Goes put down, holds the ball.
Big defence by Australia.
Shelford caught one then. And it seems Roach was the offender. And he's been binned as well.
Here's Adrian Shelford taking it up here. And there's a loose arm going in there by Steve Roach.
And it was more what happened in the tackle as well. Have a look at the way Roach came into the tackle.
Here's the loose arm coming across the top now. The referee was right on the spot.
And then when Shelford went down, he put an elbow in as well. So Peter Brown with a shot. That was the offence that copped the penalty. So a chance now to get rid of the big zero on the board for New Zealand. Finally, they get some points on the board. Peter Brown, the other two player, 27 years old, in his 5th test today, made his debut in '86, puts the first points on the board for New Zealand. The Kiwis still with a massive task. 23 points down. Katie Shelford almost flattening the flag on the way across. Mark Hoddle playing half back. Ilya. There have been necessary rearrangements in the back line since Friend was binned. Bert Sorensen. Both sides playing with 12 at the moment. Freeman finds the gap to Graham. Graham looking for support. But as they were in the first half, the runners leaving the support behind a little. Kevin Edel. kick from Dean Bell.
No, New Zealand were on the attack there. It's the 5th tackle. They should have put the bomb up, I think.
Elia. Siranen. Jack Sorensen anxious to make the tackle. The ball goes back to Jack. Kurt Sorensen not a happy man at the moment.
New Zealand must spin the ball a bit. They must get out to their backs to run the Australians ragged.
Hero hasn't had a chance to get his legs free at all today.
Well, that's the story of New Zealand's game today, I'd say, Tony. They're just dropping the ball, making a lot of silly mistakes.
Really has been the story of the day. Tony Gordon can only look in wonder. I guess you couldn't say it was an upset. Neither team was a hot favourite in this final. But the score is certainly an upset. And the ease with which Australia have done it. Farah. And that's inside the 22. Playing it a metre inside. Drop ball and a scramble for possession, and Mark Horrell salvages something. The Kiwis can run it out from there. Peter Brown puts it out.
Australia all offside there. He's picked them up as well.
So they go another 10. A real chance to attack here. Mark Graham changes direction. Shelford can't get the pass away. Bounces out of his hands. The scramble, and Kevin Ito was there. And the penalty again to the Kiwis. Well, I'm surprised at Dean Bell. I guess 2 points are better than none, but they're certainly not better than 6.
Yeah, for the Kiwis to get their confidence, I think they need a try. They must get a try sometime in the second half, just to get their confidence, and they can start throwing the ball about.
Right on the 22-metre line. 2 more points are not going to do them any good at all. They're still going to be 21 behind. An indication of the fact that this is a demoralised Kiwi side at the moment, and understandably. So Brown makes it 4 for New Zealand, and they're still 21 behind.
25 minutes to play. Australia 25, New Zealand 4.
Starts. Elia throwing it blind. 80 Shelford. Mercer. 80 Shelford's had a very quiet game today. Peter Brown. Wallace waiting. Mark Graham. He's the man that can break it for them, but the support was not there quickly enough. Tony Ito in his debut test. I don't think it's one he's going to remember.
As we were saying before, that's what the Kiwis have been doing all day. Just when they had the momentum there, they got it out to Tony Ito and he dropped the ball. Just can't afford to do it in these type of matches.
Gary Jack. It's Mercer receiving a little bit of attention there from Kemble. Sirenen keeping the hands free beautifully. Gary Jack is in there. Langer can't pick it up. Knocked on. And they'll come back for the scrum. A stroke of luck for the Kiwis to retain some respectability.
Looks as though Alan Logan was over for his third try there. A very rare mistake by Australia, but here they switch it to the blind side. Suriname too strong for everybody. Again, the Kiwis defence a bit lacking. Gary Jack inside the Alan Lager. I think he would have been over, but he dropped the ball.
There was no cover there. Otto. That's the 22-metre line just ahead of them. Dean Bell. Steve Roach is back on the paddock.
It's good defence by Australia. First-time tacklers are not missing.
Sorensen's pass forward by Elias. And here's Cooper on it. It's Mercer coming off, so Shane Cooper. I wonder if they will put Cooper back in fullback. It was one of the worries if Mercer got injured. There was no established cover there.
I think he's going to put Gary Freeman back at fullback. Tony, he's walking back there now, and Cooper's gone to standoff.
Clayton Friend is back on, by the way. So yes, it is that way. Freeman is back at fullback. So the halves will be Friend and Cooper. Meanwhile, the Australians with a penalty, and O'Connor's going to have a shot. 25-4. 20 minutes remaining. I got a funny feeling that a great rugby league occasion, the greatest rugby league occasion, is going to turn into a bit of a dismal day for New Zealand. Flagged away, so the scoreline remains. From the 22, Peter Brown to Sirenen to Jack. And that's the halfway line. Steve Roach. Cooper has the ball off him, but he's not going to be allowed to keep it. Tony Ito, first time he's had a decent little run. And it'll be intriguing now to see if Shane Cooper makes a difference to this side.
Yes, he has to get in there and get the ball to the backs, I think, and keep spinning the ball to get the Australians chasing us. But we won't do it like that.
Well, a crazy, desperate pass from 80 Shelford straight up in the air, and Mark McGaw pounced. Lamb back in. Miller running well again. Combination between Pearce and Miller is excellent. Sirenen seems to have played on his own somewhat. Elias with the kick through, making Freeman run for it, and it's gone out just 3 metres short. The scrum goes down, 6 metres out from the Kiwis line. The penalty going New Zealand's way. Early striking, so Peter Brown to the line. Gary Jack puts his hand up to it, and it's out. 7 metres in the Australian half. Time running out for the Kiwis to do anything. Time running out even for them to salvage some pride here. Brown. Peter Brown with a determined run. Hoddle coming off him, but he didn't have the ball. Ito. Big brother behind him. To Bell. But Elias was awake to that. Mark Graham starting to shout some orders out there now. Friend. Brown. Cooper waiting. Kevin Sorensen. Freeman going screaming through off his inside shoulder. But he didn't deliver. I think both Sorensen and Miller took a knock then. That's the 22-metre line in the Australian half. Sirenen. "16 minutes remain in the game. 25-4. This Australian side has been so sharp, looking superb in the first half. They've been slowed down a little in this second. Elias again with a kick.
Yes, Australia have been going forward the whole game. They've been going forward in defence and on attack. Especially the defence has been very sure.
Cooper. Friend waiting, looking out to his right. Dean Bell. Kevin Ito, he and Tony Ito have been well bundled up out there. Friend puts the kick up. Now Shearer safe. Gary Jack. Plenty of hands to tackle Sirenen. And the pace has just gone out of the game for a while. You couldn't blame the Australians for slowing it down a little. They've done their damage. Wayne Wallace comes up with the ball. Friend. Ito. Kevin Ito. Can he get past Jack? Yes, he does. Now maybe that will bring some confidence to the Kiwi side with 13 minutes remaining. Kevin getting his legs free for the first time in the match and finding a little bit of space.
We've got something to cheer about now. Good pass by Clayton Free in there. Kevin taking the ball on the burst, put Gary Jack on, went for the corner, and a brilliant try.
Gary Jack was across quickly, but not quickly enough to keep out the big man.
He's done this so many times in his career, Kevin Iro. Very strong, very pacey, and he took the fullback on and scored in the corner.
And notice here when Jack comes across that he changes the ball from his left to his right hand. As Jack approaches him, swaps hands, manages to stay on the sideline, and he's in. Conversion flagged away. So 25-8 with 12 minutes remaining now. Kevin the Wigan 20-year-old, putting some respectability on the scoreboard for New Zealand. Here's Mark Elia getting free, and all of a sudden the Kiwis have some confidence. They haven't got the time, but they've got the confidence. Mark Elia losing his boot, reminiscent of a game at Hull in 1985, where he scored a couple of tries without a boot. Dean Bell running this way and that, but not making a lot of headway. They're outside their 22. Friend, Cooper, Sorensen can't hold it. Magor has it. So the Australians now with an attacking opportunity. Lamb, the chip through. Went a little far, and Freeman's going to run it back at him. Straight into Lamb's tackle. No love lost out there. He's a feisty little fellow, Lamb, isn't he? Sammy Stewart on the paddock. It looks like it's 80 Shelford coming off. That perhaps is not surprising. Already there's a stoush there between Steve Roach and Kurt Sorensen. It's been brewing for a while. And I doubt that's the last we've seen of it. Graham Ainui laying down the law.
Kurt Sorensen's met. There's Adrian Shelford. He had a quiet first half, came right in the second half. But Kurt Sorensen just moved up into the front row there. And Steve Roach and Kurt Sorensen, they had a few punch-ups in the 86 series, so they're carrying that on.
Just have a look at it again. There had to be a little sort out there, since Sammy Stewart will go into the second row and Kurt takes 80's place up in the front. So with the two subs on now, the Kiwis running out of time fast. 9 minutes remain in the game. 25-8, they're down. In need of possession and penetration. Farah. Good kick from Elias. He's been spot on with the tactical kicking all day.
I think that's a major difference with Australia too, even against the wind. They've got the tactical kickers who keep New Zealand out in their half.
I thought that was well on the right side of that flag.
It looked as though to me as well.
Might be a deceptive angle from here.
Again, there it was again, another silly mistake by New Zealand, first tackle.
Time running out, 8 on the clock. Steve Roach off the paddock now. So David Gillespie on for Australia. I wonder if the Australian management have decided that Steve Roach being pulled off is a sensible idea. It might save a penalty or two. Miller. And up inside the 22. Langer. There's plenty of punch-ups going on here. This is Freeman and Shearer.
Kevin Miller gave Gary Freeman one, and the referee didn't even spot it. And then the next tackle, I think Freeman came across the top. But the referee in this game leaves a lot to be desired. He hasn't kept authority on the game right through, and when you've got stoushes like this, especially this late in the game, it's unbelievable.
It's difficult to understand why we're getting all of this, as you say, this late in the game. I mean, what do we got? 7 minutes to go. What's the point? Certainly a fair amount of ill feeling out there. And a lot of frustration on the Kiwi side. Perhaps for the mistakes that they've made. Gavin Miller certainly gave Gary Freeman a little bit of a touch-up. So the scrum will go down now, midway 22 and goal line. Elia. Getting out of one, but not the second. Cooper getting the hand free to Wallace. Graham. Sorensen. Ball coming free from him, picked up by Friend. Not often you see Kurt Sorensen spill a ball in the tackle. Sam Stewart trying to keep his hands free. Cooper flicks it back to Friend. Friend over the top to Sam Stewart. On through Brown to Ito. Ito the big brother. He can't hold it. And little brother gives him a piece of his mind.
There's Tony Iro, he was going to come inside there, but Kevin gave the pass to the outside. Again, New Zealand looked as though they were going places there.
Even with a broken arm, you could look satisfied at 25 up, 25-8 up, with 5 minutes to go. New Zealand favoured in the penalty count, 17-8. Wallace, Stewart. Peter Brown. The Australian tackling still strong. place for Friend to turn it back to. Here's Ito. But he can't do it on his own.
No, the Australian defence is too solid. Been tackling like this for the full 80 minutes.
Graham. Ito gets the pass to Tony Ito. Back into Cooper. Cooper keeping his hands free. Brown flicks it on to Hotto. Hotto's got Dean Bell there. And they're up inside the 22. Bell. Sorensen. Sorensen gets the pass to Cooper and Cooper knocks it on. Story of the game. Well, I guess that might have been just the last chance. 3 minutes in the game now. An Australian ball to the scrum. Coming back to the Kiwis, tight head. Sam Stewart. Just a few metres short now. And they've lost possession. And regained it via the referee. Wallace takes the first tackle. Ready to set up for Sorensen. Cooper, Bell, Ito, and finally something goes right for the Itos, for older brother Tony in particular. And I guess he can finish his debut test with some satisfaction.
Yes, New Zealand deserving this try. They got the ball out to their back line. Came to Shane Cooper. It's a good pass by Dean Bell here. Saw that Kevin Ero was going into the gap. Good step by Kevin Ero. And Tony Ero going over for the try. But I think it's come too late, Tony. There's mounting pressure here by the Kiwis. Good step by Kevin Ero there, and Tony Ero, an excellent try, but I think it's too late.
I think you're right. Nice finishing. Nicely set up. And a good pass delivered that time from Kevin Ito, the younger but more experienced of the brothers. Cooper flicked it. Dean Bell. Bell put Ito in the right place, but he still had two men there. Drew in Big Brother, and Tony finishes. Flagged away with a conversion, so it's 25-12 with 1 minute and 41 left. Too late for the Kiwis now. Telling comment from Wally Lewis. They're getting some points in the latter stages, but who cares? They've got the World Cup. Arkilia. A little bit of scampering there. Kevin Ito is determined to do something with it. Kevin Ito has looked the class of the New Zealand backline. Big hit that time on Graham. Graham Wainui gives a penalty to the Kiwis. And Peter Brown for the line, right on halfway. Wally Lewis getting set to celebrate. There's Wally Mike. 17 seconds, 15 remain in the game. You'll hear the crowd count them down from 10. As Dean Bell runs it in. 2, 1. That's the end of the game. So out of time. Kurt Sorensen running things up. Still a stoppage in play. The ground is invaded by thousands of young fans, and Australia have won the 1988 World Cup. Certainly, Gary, that will make up for the first match between these two sides in this current series when New Zealand thrashed them 18-0.
Let's face it, they've made the World Cup final. Even though it's been a disappointing day for New Zealanders, they made the final and they only come on the last 20 minutes really. But good luck Australia, they've played really well.